Hello, yogis. This is Mike. I was checking up on what we've been doing with these live streams, and I was interested in seeing that we've done 15 of them so far. This is the 16th live stream that we've done together. And so that would make about 8 weeks of doing this. Such an interesting thing. We've been doing this for a while. I didn't imagine that we'd be in seclusion for so long. And one thing that I've been thinking about, and I wonder if you've been too, is as we've changed the way we do things and have a chance to look back at how it was before, are there any differences in what we want to see as we move forward and perhaps as we go to what people refer to as a new normal? What is it that we want to do? Is there something different? I was also listening to this song by Bob Marley, Three Little Birds. It's the name of the song, but we all know the lyrics to it. Don't worry about a thing, because everything is going to be all right. And it's a good way to think about things, to be in life and to consider in this moment as we sit here together, how are things now for you? Isn't it that everything is just fine, just as it is, nothing is lacking? And this is what in yoga philosophy we consider, that suffering that we create for ourselves often is about worrying about what's going to happen, worrying about the future. And it's part of the way our mind works. You could say that it's an evolutionary thing that we've brought with us through evolution, because worrying and thinking about the worst side of things might be a way of protecting us. In the past, when lions and tigers and bears were roaming all around us, that perhaps there was more to worry about, being eaten up by a lion. But there aren't those here now. And for the most part, we're all very safe and well fed. We have roofs over our heads and everything is fine. Of course, there's things that are happening in the news, and if we watch too much of that, it can create a disturbance within us and make us feel anxious and upset. And that's one of the things we try to relieve ourselves in our yoga practice, to help dissipate those energies that we carry within us that are created by the mind. So let's begin with settling into our breath. Start to breathe long and deep and slow, cycling the breath and balancing the inhale and the exhale. Calling this the balanced breath, breathing in for 4 counts slowly, deeply. And then exhaling, again slowly, completely, drawing your navel in towards your spine, firmly as you exhale. Being mindful of the breath is really the first step in being mindful itself, to be in the present moment. If you're being mindful of your breath, you're being in the present moment. And if it were possible to always, in the background of our perception and our observations, to have this background of being mindful of breath and noticing what's happening with the breath as things change around us. Noticing that by moving the breath deeply and balancing it, we keep ourselves in a state of ease. And when we might sometimes feel anxious or upset, to again bring our attention back to the breath and notice what is happening with the breath when I'm in this condition. And simply by bringing it back into this deep and balanced breath, we can move ourselves away from it and back to balance. The breath itself is really the most fundamental aspect of health. The breath in yoga science connects mind and body. And let's begin to move now. Bring your arms to your sides. Make sure your spine is erect and straight. And as you draw the breath in, let's reach up and stretch and lengthen. And as you exhale, lower the arms and lower your chin towards your chest, feeling the back of the neck release. And let's continue. Now, lifting the right arm, we'll come into a side bend. Inhale, and just gently bend to the left, and rise up and move to the other side. Move in such a way that it feels good, that there's a kind of pleasure in the feeling of it. As we release tension and stiffness in the body, there's a pleasant feeling that we experience. And all of our postures are really about this same basic thing, to release tension and stiffness in the body. Let's extend the arms out to the sides and draw them back to expand the chest as you draw the breath in. And as you exhale, let's tuck. And repeat this. Lowering our arms down, let's prepare to twist. Extend the arms up, and as you exhale, turn to your right and come into your twist. Then prepare for the other side. Move slowly and gracefully with intention to treat yourself well. Extending the arms up, we'll lower the hands down and come onto our hands and knees into 4 points. Take a breath in and sit back into your heels with your exhale into child's pose. And let's rise up into 4 points. And again, move back into the heels in child's pose. Continue drawing your navel firmly in towards your spine. On the next cycle, let's prepare to stay in the child's pose. And just simply relax and release. Observing your breath. Notice as you exhale if all of the old air is coming out, firmly drawing your navel in toward your spine, pushing all the old air out. And again, notice that as you exhale completely, a deeper sense of release is experienced in the body, and at the same time, perhaps in the mind as well, letting go, releasing worries. Let's come back up onto our hands and knees. And from here, we're going to extend the right leg straight back with an internal rotation of the thigh. And then raise your left arm. So opposite arm to leg. As you breathe in, reach both arm and leg away from each other. And as you exhale, let's bring the elbow toward the knee and come into a tuck. And then extend as you breathe in and tuck as you exhale. Very good. Hold the extension for just a moment, and then lower the hand and knee down, and proceed to the other side. The leg, as you extend it back, we need to internally rotate the thigh so the toes point straight down. The leg should not be turned out at an angle, or the foot, I should say. Extend the arm away, and let's tuck, and extend, and tuck. Once more. And let's remain for a moment. Lowering the hand and the knee down. Coming back into your 4-point shape. Step your right foot forward. And let's release the hip flexors in this left leg, the one that's behind us. Simply stay. Tucking your left foot under, lift the knee off the floor and try to straighten the leg. And let's step back into our downward facing dog now. Our first down dog. Begin to pedal your heels slowly. And coming to a stop, we'll lower back onto our knees and prepare to step the left leg in between the hands. A low lunge variation, and stay for a moment. We want to create a straight line from the leg across the hip joint to release the hip flexors, especially if you've done a lot of sitting today. Notice if you feel tension or tightness there and try to let it release. And then we'll tuck the right foot under and lift the knee off the floor. Try to straighten your leg. Stepping back into the downward facing dog. Firmly draw your navel in towards your spine with each exhale. Slow and deep breaths, the balanced breath, just as when we started. Let's lift the right foot off the floor, just until your heel is the height of your hip. Internally rotate the leg, so again, your toes are pointing straight toward the floor, and try to reach your heel straight back. Feel your left heel lowering toward your mat. Take a breath in, and draw the knee into the chest and see if you can very quietly step between the hands into your low lunge. Now we'll pivot the left foot to lower the heel down and rise up to prepare to move in and out of the pyramid shape. The right arm is behind. Float your left arm up as you breathe in. And as you exhale, extend the crown of your head away from your body so that the spine is straight. As we fold into pyramid, releasing the backside of the body. To rise up, we need to straighten first, and then continue up. And repeat this. Try to move slowly and smoothly. Notice that in our practice, in our asana practice, we have so many different modalities that we can work with. And one of them is the speed or the rate of the movement. We can move extremely slowly. We might move at a slightly faster pace. And the subtle effect that we experience is different, isn't it for you? We are moving a little bit slower today than usual. And notice for yourself, is there a difference in the way the experience of the vinyasa, the cycle, feels as we slow down our repetitions? There's more time to experience the flow itself, isn't it? Let's extend both arms up. And this time we're going to extend and fold and remain in the pyramid shape. Slowly come down and let yourself release. Firmly drawing your navel in toward your spine as you exhale. And there's also a tilting or a rotation of the tail as we try to tilt it up toward the sky, feeling probably most of all the release of tension around the hamstrings in this leg that's in front, the right leg for us. As we remain in our asana, in the shape, we also have a kind of amount of time we could spend in the asana. There is a gradual release. At first it's a little faster, but then as we stay, it becomes more and more gradual. And if we bring ourselves into the shape in such a way that we can relax, then the effect of the asana is much deeper as we remain and simply let go. As we stay, we again experience more. Let's step back into our downward facing dog. And notice the left and right side of your body, if you feel a difference in each side. What is the difference that you feel? Now we'll float the left leg just until it's the height of your hip. Internally rotate the thigh and straighten the leg. Try to project the heel back and stay for a moment. And as you exhale, draw your knee into your chest and quietly step between your hands into the low lunge, pivoting the right heel. We rise up and we're back into this posture for the pyramid shape. This time the left arm behind, float your right arm up. Let's go slow. Some of us might like slow. Some of us might not like slow. But one thing to consider is if you are always in a rush in your life, this can create a disturbance. And the counterintuitive thing is that as we disturb ourselves in that way, we tend to gravitate toward more of it. Think about it in our regular lives before the sequestration. Were we rushing around more, and how did it affect us? And as we've had a chance to slow down a bit, how does that affect you? Extend both of the arms up, and let's slowly come down. So the lesson or teaching there would be that if you're rushing around a lot in life, if you're hurrying, having lots of things to do simultaneously, doesn't it then make sense that we should slow down a bit? And especially in our yoga, if the solution is to slow down, then the solution should be applied to the practice, shouldn't it? Let's step back into our down dog. Now, as we move slower through our postures, obviously more time is passing for each sequence. And so if we have a time limit that we have on our practice, then there is less postures we might go through. And yet, it doesn't mean that the practice itself is less. In fact, it might be more. And we'll notice that for ourselves as we continue on. Let's come into our plank and straighten. Prepare to lower down, take a breath in. And as you exhale, let's come down. Point your toes and reach one leg back and then the other to feel your body lengthen. Let's prepare for cobra. Tuck the pelvis under as you draw the breath in, lifting the chest. Coming into cobra, and as you exhale, lower. So we can deepen this chest expansion by lifting the shoulders up and rotating them back as we come up into the shape. And we want to feel a release in the chest area. So breathe deeply and feel the release in the thoracic spine, right around the heart center. Can we stay up for a few breaths? Let's rise up and stay for a moment. As we stay, there's a slight drawing in of the lower navel in to support the lower body. When we breathe into the chest, into the sides, expanding, and lowering down. Come up onto your hands and knees, and let's come into our child's pose, sitting back. Let's come up onto our hands and knees and press back into downward facing dog. And gazing between your hands, walk toward them. And we come into a forward bend. The feet are parallel here. They're not together. A gap between them. You can imagine if one of your feet, if you had a third foot and it was in between the two, it would be just the size of your foot in between. Squeeze your ankles toward each other so there's a kind of squeezing in the inner thighs, squeezing them toward each other. The feet are parallel, the knees bent enough so you can feel your belly resting on your thighs. And we're simply hanging upside down here, feeling a release in the backside of the body. In our forward bend, preparing for chair, sit into the chair shape and rise up. And then lower. Do you like moving slowly with this cycle? Let's prepare to stay in chair. Smile if you wish. It makes it better, doesn't it? And let's rise up. Lower your arms to your sides. Open your palms wide. And stand in mountain. Notice how you feel. Let's bring our hands together. We're going to try to, we'll bend the knees. I want you to try to lift your left foot off the floor and cross the leg and see if you can sit kind of like in the chair shape, but with the foot crossed. And you should be feeling a release around the outer thigh here. See if you can stay for a moment. And let's rise up, stepping down and taking a moment to adjust. How does this side compare to this side? Is there like a feeling of aliveness, as if something has been woken up? And what is it that was woken up? A kind of presence, I would call it. And this can be described as we have practiced in the practice of prana dharana, the sensation of prana. Let's rise up and step down. So imagine if you have a pipe that has water that runs through it. You could think of this as the flow of prana. And the pipe has gotten constricted, and the flow is being restricted. And all of a sudden we remove that constriction and the flow moves again. This is what the sensation might be described as. The flow of prana becomes more free and not blocked and held up. And this kind of blockage is a pathway for unease and later for disease to set itself into the body. Opening the pathway is healing for us. Let's move back into our chair shape. Extend the arms up and fold. From here, we come back into this forward bend just as I described before. Again, it's important that the knees are bent to feel your waist against your thighs, and try to tilt your tail up toward the sky. It's again a rotation upwards. And from here, lift up. Try to come up onto your fingertips to come into the half bend, Ardha Uttanasana. And as you come into this half bend, imagine if your fingers are on blocks or on the floor, as if you're trying to pull yourself forward to reach the crown of your head away and create this spinal extension. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, firmly draw your navel in toward your spine and fold again into the forward bend, Uttanasana. Rise into the half bend, Ardha meaning half, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale and fold, Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana. And from here, step back into your downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Savasana. Step your right foot between your hands and prepare for the warrior one. Come into the low lunge first, then pivot your foot. just as we did in the pyramid shape, but this time the right knee remains bent as we rise up into the warrior one. Let's bend the elbows. Take a breath in and draw the shoulders blades toward each other to expand the chest. And as you exhale, let's close the forearms toward each other. Inhale and open. Exhale and close. Inhale, open. Exhale and close. Inhale, open once more. And then close and take your left elbow and put it on top of your right to interlink your hands. Try to drop deeper into the lunge if you can. Let's release and interlace your fingers behind you, lifting the shoulders up and rolling them open, and either rest against your thigh or come inside of the leg into the humble warrior. I can see you underneath my thigh. Can you see me? Let's release the hands and step back into downward facing dog. Stay a moment. Now, the left foot steps between the hands, pivoting the right heel, and rising up as we did before, warrior one. Once more, bending the elbows. As you draw the breath in, draw the shoulder blades toward each other. Exhale and squeeze the forearms toward each other. Inhale, open. Exhale and close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Once more. This time, the right goes on top of the left. And we interlink our hands, lifting the elbows up and pressing the forearms forward. Firmly draw the navel in towards your spine as you exhale. Releasing, and again interlinking the fingers behind, lift the shoulders, roll the chest open. Coming into our humble warrior once more. Just as you did on the other side. And then release the hands and come back into your downward facing dog. Come into your plank as you draw the breath in. Straighten the body. Float down to the floor as you exhale. Point the toes, reach the legs back, tuck the pelvis under. Rise into cobra. And press back into down dog. Gazing between your hands. Let's walk toward them, lifting into the half bend as you draw the breath in, and folding forward as you exhale. Extend your arms behind you, and lift your body until you're in the shape of a letter, or inverted L it would be. And to rise up, push from your heels, extend your arms up toward the sky, and lower your arms down to your side. And we come into our mountain and step the legs apart into a straddle. Let's take the hands behind the thighs and slowly fold forward, bringing the hands to the floor under the heart. Walk your hands over to the right foot, bending the right knee and straightening the left leg. Feeling a release on the inner thigh on your left leg. Smooth your breath out and let go with each exhale.
Let's move to the other side and stay for a moment here. Coming back to the center, rise up into the half bend. Extend your arms behind you, and let's continue up. Coming back up with the legs apart and preparing to come into the revolved triangle. Extend your arms away, bending the right knee. Turn and bringing the left hand down towards your foot into your twist. And rising back up as you breathe in. We'll continue on the same side 4 more times. Are you moving slowly? Maybe 10% slower than you started. And let's continue with our slowed down movements as we've been practicing. And we'll take one more cycle. Now the other side, bending the left knee, turning toward the left side, and rising up. Let's take one more. Now, to the first side and stay. Churn the navel center. As you exhale, draw the navel in and twist it in the direction of your turn. And as you breathe in, broaden your shoulders and extend the crown of the head away. Opening into the shape as you inhale, and as you exhale, churning the navel center. Noticing if you feel any trembling as you remain, slowing down and smoothing the breath to create a state of stillness and ease, as if you feel light and expansive at the same time. Let's prepare to come up, lowering our arms to our sides, and take a moment here. You can close your eyes if you wish and notice how you feel. Again, this description that I posed earlier, the pipes becoming less clogged and the flow running, opening the flow. Let's prepare for the other side, bending the left knee and moving into the shape here. Let's rise up and stay for a moment. From here, let's bring our legs, feet together, hip distance apart, coming back into mountain. And we'll prepare to move into our Warrior Two sequence. Standing at the front of your mat, draw the breath in. And soften your knees as you exhale and fold forward. Rise into the half bend and step back into down dog. Raising the right leg up as you breathe in, flex the heel, internal rotation of the thigh, lifting the leg, and then drawing the knee into the chest, stepping between your hands into the low lunge, pivoting the left foot. We have to extend the left arm forward, reach it, and we'll open. I'm going to turn so that I can face you as we open into our Warrior Two. Gazing towards your right hand, past the fingertips. And here, as you exhale, draw the navel in and twist it toward the back wall. We're going to be moving into the half moon from this Warrior Two. First, come into the reverse warrior. And then, looking at the floor, hop your left foot forward and float your fingers down onto the floor or onto a block. As you float the left leg off the floor, open. From here, let's slowly float back and come back into reverse warrior. And then swing your arms over your head, hands to the floor, and step back into down dog. I'm going to turn the other way so I can again face you. Let's float the left leg. Draw the knee into the chest and step. Pivoting the right heel, extend the right arm and open into your Warrior Two. Virabhadrasana 2. Firmly drawing the navel in and twisting it toward the back wall as you exhale. Lowering the right arm, come into your reverse warrior and prepare for half moon. Stepping the right foot forward, floating the fingers down, and floating the right leg off the floor with an external rotation of the thigh. Expand into the shape. Let's prepare for a reverse warrior. And then swing the arms over the head, hands to the floor, and step back into down dog. Float your right leg off the floor, and as you exhale, see if you can cross the knee, coming forward, and then extending it back. So imagine we're as if we're coming in and out of the half pigeon. And let's repeat this a few times. Finally, we're going to come into the half pigeon and stay. Pointing the toes of the left foot, and either staying as you are or choosing to move closer to your mat, feeling the releasing the outer thigh, smoothing the breath out. Let's prepare to come back into our down dog. And we have the other side to do. Float your left leg. See if you can open the knee, coming down into the shape slowly, and extend back. There's no momentum here. Move slowly and with control. Finally, let's prepare to stay. Pointing the toes of the right foot. Either staying as you are or seeing if it feels comfortable to move it closer to the floor. A good thing to observe is if you feel yourself tensing up, unable to relax, then you're pushing yourself too far and you need to back off. Let's prepare for down dog. Lower onto your knees and move into your child's pose. And let yourself release for a moment here. From here, we're going to come into our hero pose. And as usual, you can choose to either sit on your heels, but if your knees are uncomfortable sitting on heels, you can take a pillow or a block and sit on that instead. You can put it in between the ankles, or you can place it on your heels and sit on the pillow or the block that way. Let's take a moment here. And from here, we'll cross the legs. At first, we'll extend the legs to shake the knees out a bit. Then we'll cross the legs and come into our easy pose, straightening the spine. Let's bring our feet together. Wrap your fingers around your toes. And here we can stay and remain upright. If you wish to hinge at your hips, make sure you're not hunching or bending your back. We need to hinge at the hips. We can move forward a bit. Avoid pulling yourself. Keep the lower back straight and try to turn your tail toward the back wall. We'll stay here for a moment and just release and relax. And be gentle with yourself. There's no pulling, there's no forcing. We don't want to strain the back at all. We're simply releasing the inner thighs. And let's come up. Now we'll extend the legs out and come into our twist. Bending your left knee, draw the heel in. Straighten the spine, then cross the leg and either leave the right leg extended as it is or bend the knee if you prefer. Extend your left arm up and stretch as you breathe in. As you exhale, bring the arm behind you. As you inhale, extend the right arm up and stretch. And as you exhale, either bring the hand across the thigh or possibly cross your elbow as you turn to look over your shoulder. And again, churn the navel center as you exhale. Unwinding, let's prepare for the other side. Come into your staff pose first with the legs extended, then bend the right knee, draw it in, cross the leg, and either leave the other one extended or choose to bend the knee. Your preference. Extend your right arm up, breathe in and stretch. Exhale, the arm comes behind, left arm up, stretch. Exhale, either tuck or cross the elbow, turn to look over your shoulder, and churn the navel center. Turn to face the front, and now we'll come into our dynamic bridge. Lower onto your back, arms at your sides, rest your head back. Lift up slowly, opening into bridge. Moving the arms like an arc, like a rainbow arc. So as you look at the way your arms are moving, notice if they kind of move out and back in. We want to try to keep them moving in a nice straight line through the motion. Let's take one more cycle. And now, leaving your arms on the floor, lift up and externally rotate the arms. See if you can link your fingers underneath and stay in the bridge shape. Breathing into the heart center. Let's lower down. And from here, we'll extend the legs up. You can take your hands behind your thighs to support yourself. Flex your heels, press the heels toward the sky and your hips down into the floor. If you can release the grip of your hands without your legs moving forward, they should remain where they are. You can place your arms at your sides. Let's bring the feet down. Extend your left leg out and draw your right knee into your chest. And we'll prepare for a twist. In the reclined position, simply bring the knee across your body and turn to look in the opposite direction. Churning the navel center as we've been practicing. Moving back to the center, we'll switch legs and prepare for the other side. We'll draw the left knee in and come into your twist. Coming back, let's tuck. Hug your knees into your chest and try to touch your forehead towards your knees. And release it. Stretch your legs out and reach your arms over your head. Take a few deep breaths and lengthen your spine. Wiggle around a little bit, tuck the pelvis under. Make the spine feel as long as you can make it. And then relax for your Shavasana. Close your eyes and let your breath smooth out. Let yourself relax.
Om, Om, Om. Peace, peace, peace. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause everything is going to be all right. Let's begin to wiggle our fingers and toes around and deepen the breath. And slowly rise up, coming back into the seat that you started with. Let's take a moment to just be still. I want to again help you to bring your attention to this idea of flow of prana in the body. And it can be described also as presence, the feeling of something there. Something that feels expansive and open. It can be described as that which moves, that's that which activates, a kind of feeling of aliveness. After all, it's life energy itself. And feel it. Was it, in fact, feeling asleep before, and has it been awakened? Was it, in fact, restricted, and now it's unrestricted and open? And does it not, in fact, feel good? Let's lower the chin and bring our hands together. Open the eyes and please join me with 3 Oms to complete our practice. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for joining me this evening. Have a good sleep, and Shanti Namaste. Peace, I bow to you.